So we are live. So today the agenda of this discussion is like where we'll be discussing on the current status of our work on the CentOS Community Container Pipeline. So for people who do not know what it is, so CentOS Community Container Pipeline is a offering from CentOS Community to actually enable projects to automatically build, test, and deliver their containerized images without getting into the hassle of it. So as a developer, you do not need to think every time when that you have to when you update your code, you have to build and then test and deliver your container images. So this platform does it for you. So you focus on coding and set up a flow, and once it is integrated with the platform, it's kind of mostly autopilot. Yeah. So the way we envision this project is that, like, so there will be simple single user interface for the developers to come and integrate themselves with the CentOS container community container pipeline, and once it is integrated, so the builds get run automatically for them. So they have only one user interface to interact with, and then we have got the build service where the container images are built, and then we have got the testing platform where the containers are tested, and then finally we have got a registry where the built images are shipped, are pushed for delivery. So we'll start with the user interface, where the user interaction begins with our platform. So I'll share my screen. Uh, can you see the GitHub repo on my screen?
Yep.
So this is a container project, a basic placeholder project that we have created for the demo and for the test. So this is a container index for CentOS. So here this repository contains an index of the projects that are registered with our platform for building container images and like shipping them. So as you see that currently we have got one project under the namespace container, and it points to github.com rtmpro centos docker httpd. So it's a simple Docker image. So for people to start using this interface, all you need to do is that you need to have a GitHub repository or any Git repository, and for currently it is GitHub, because if you want to create a pull request, then your repository has to be on GitHub, but it's not necessary. So all you need to do is that you have to create a pull request, editing the container index file, and adding your project under a particular namespace. So here I have created the namespace CentOS, and then you point to your repository, and you can also so here I am I'm integrating a fork of CentOS Docker files, which is upstream CentOS collection of CentOS Docker files. I have forked it under my namespace in GitHub, and I have configured this repository contains a lot of subdirectories and each subdirectory has a Docker file for a project. So here in the integration we also support relative paths in a repository. So here I'm pointing to this repository, but I'm telling by this colon separator after that this integration is for the httpd/CentOS 7 Docker file. So let me go to this repository and see what it contains. So here, if I go to HTTPD and then CentOS 7, so there's the Docker file. So I had specified that in the relative path here, right? Um, and also to enable your project to build their container images on CentOS Community Container Pipeline, you have to put a small YAML file in your project directory. So it goes by the name ci.centos.org.yaml, and it contains certain metadata like what is the name of your project, and then like what image name you want to build, and other things like these things are not relevant right now, but like yeah, so mainly we are interested in the image name, and uh, there's a small glitch. So currently, uh, OpenShift templates do not support slashes in the image name, so I'll just update it. Yep. So now we are good. So let me go ahead and merge this pull request into my master. Um, yep. So if I go to the code, now I've got, oh, no, sorry. So I've got this project wired up with my system. So I've got a small script. So what this project basically is, it contains a few JGB templates to actually automate the creation of JGB jobs so that you do not do it manually every time. And we have got a small trigger script, CCCP index.py, CentOS Community Container Pipeline as an index.py, to trigger the creation of jobs in Jenkins. So I have got Jenkins job builder set up on my system, and it is already configured to the test instance of Jenkins that were created for this purpose. So what I'll do is that I'll share my terminal for this. Can you see my terminal? Right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, cool. Let's see. So I just push the CCCP index YAML template to my Jenkins instance, and it says that it has generated one job. So let's go into Jenkins and see what it has done. I'll stop this sharing my terminal and again share my browser. There I go. So yeah, so this is the Jenkins instance I'm running. So it has created one job CSSB index, and if I go to configure, so it is made to track the Git repository, and it will be folding it from time to time and doing the builds again and again. And so I do not run uh, CCCP index manually. And here there's a small typo because it has to be CCCP. I think I forgot to commit the change. Yep, so I should be able to build it now. Let's see. Mm, it seems to be some error. Let me just quickly go and see.
Maybe it is because of that branch. Maybe the branch must be.
Yeah, it's because of the branch. It seems like that. Let me just. Da, 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 da. It's, I just post the fix and let me. Let me try to push the job once again. It seems to for now. Let me try to build it again. Yeah, it's running. So far so good. Oh, so it has run successfully, and the result we'll see is that it has created two other jobs for me. So so I had got two projects integrated in my container index, so it has created two jobs for me: CentOS HTTPD and the container HTTPD. So I'll go and have a look into this. So it's tracking the CentOS Dockerfile repository, and it should and it will be running a build for the CentOS 7 HTTPD Dockerfile. So so what it will do is that it will trigger it will log into the slave which is configured to access our OpenShift instance, and it will trigger a build on the OpenShift instance. So let's try to build it. What did you say, Pama? What did you say?
It's slash httpd slash CentOS. Remove the slash.
That's okay, right? Because by default slash is the root always.
Okay. Okay.
This is a fix I did. Otherwise you can fix it, but let's see what happens.
Okay.
So I just triggered a build. Oh. So it has created a build on OpenShift. So let me reload the. Yep. So Bama, would you take it forward from here?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. I'll mute myself then, and I'll stop my screen share.
Yes. So from there means once the Jenkins triggers the build system from the GitHub. So am I audible? So this will go to our OpenShift build system, which is consisting of client and server. So this actually from Jenkins we are triggering the client, which in turns actually from Jenkins he triggered this script, which in turns triggers the OpenShift, which as an input takes all these four things: name, tag, repo URL, and build path. This name would be the project name which the user wants to give to the OpenShift project. Then the tag is the expected tag from the repository once it is built successfully. Then the repo URL, this URL is that which where the source code resides. This will be built in the container. In the repo build path, which is the relative path where the Docker file exists in that source code repository. So once it is triggered, uh, it will go to this client, and it will in turn go to the server. So in that server, we have got three main stages, which I will show from the OpenShift.
It seems like the build has failed. Is it because of the slash CentOS 7 slash HTTPD? Let me know if I have to make the changes and I can push the build again.
No, it's not because of that. It's because
And
okay,
the logs are not loading, I believe. No.
yeah, it's because of it was automatically triggered once. It was triggered twice. Well, so I'll what I'll do, I'll just trigger it manually, and so what happens.
Because what had happened was that when I was triggering the build, at the same time there was another build that was triggered automatically. So that's why there was like triggered two times. Or if you want, I can trigger the build from my side.
No, it's not recommended also.
Okay.
So once that build is triggered, it will go and build the Docker file, which is there inside that repository, which was defined by that Jenkins YML file, and it will build the whole Docker file. In the it has got three phases. One is build, then test, then delivery. So this build process is being triggered from the Jenkins, which is in turns being triggered from the GitHub repository. Then once this build is in this build process, what we do is we build the Docker file, which is there in that repository. So it will build that Docker file, and it will push that output to its OpenShift's internal registry. So let's wait till this build is complete. So because this build is being built from the scratch every time, so we do not have any dependency conflicts, but it will take time as it is building from the scratch. It will not read anything from cache. It's kind of creating the whole systems or stages from scratch to get the actual source code running, or the tests of the actual source code which is there in the repository. If you see these things like maintainer labels, all these things were in that repository which is being built. So if we go and see this repository, so here he built this Docker file where it was building from CentOS, then it is putting all these levels and versions, then it is installing the HTTP and exposing it. So it is then adding one run HTTPS. So all these steps are being run from the OpenShift. Is my screen visible?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
So how long is it gonna take for this build to complete?
Actually, it is dependent on the space available on the system OpenShift server and the steps there in the Docker file. So, as we are running on a VM which is not having a very good space, that's why it is slow. And because steps are more, it is building this one by one. It takes around 4 5 minutes to build. This image is built. It is pushing the build image to our internal registry, which is this 172.32 to 16 and 81. This is the internal registry which is OpenShift is having. So it will just push the whole image to that internal registry. Then once this push is done, it will clean the environment which is which means it will clean the local Docker images which are there in that local OpenShift builder, so that it doesn't consume any available spaces. So once this is complete, it will go and trigger the test. So here if you see that test has been triggered. See, here we are what for now we are not testing anything. We are just pulling the image from the internal registry which was pushed in the build, and it will tag it because it was tagged as test in the build, so that the test environment pulls it. So what we are assuming here is we are testing the if you see here we are assuming that we are testing the whole image running it manually. So once it is pulled, it will be tested, then it will be retagged to release ready. So once it is then we are here retagging it to release ready, then we are pushing it to the internal registry again. So once this is pushed, again we will clean the local environment, which is just for removing the allocated memory. And once it is pushed to the internal registry, it will trigger the delivery page. So here if you see it is triggering the delivery page. So just cleaned all the local regis images, and then it has triggered the delivery page. On this delivery page, So what happened actually was I removed the external registry which I create, which we linked. So I just added that secret. Mutnadi,
Yeah.
uh, it's actually I have removed some configuration, so maybe this part is not working because of that external registry. I need to fix it and then record again maybe.
So last time we did it in last run, it worked, right?
Yes,
So did you do some changes after that?
yeah, maybe I was trying to integrate the local one.
So will it? Do you need to do some more work, or like,
No, no, it is there. Um,
as in like, so can you fix it during this demo, or like we'll catch
yeah,
up?
it is possible, but we need to re-trigger the demo again. Means from the Jenkins we can show it against the flow because it is already there and it
Okay.
will run.
Shall I trigger the job from Jenkins again?
Wait, wait. I'll just stop this and then we can trigger it.
Okay. Let me know when you stopped it.
Yeah, it's stopped.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll trigger it then.
yeah,
I just triggered it. I triggered it. So
yeah. It is triggered. It is well. Not working. Maybe we need to fix something.
So I think we cannot go further today then. So we need to sync up another time and then do another session, recording of the demo.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll stop the broadcast now then.
Yeah.
Yep.